this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the changes. I'm looking for the swaps. I'm looking for the adjustments. Hungry for More have made that in game number 1. Can Paradigm make that in game number 2? Let's see.
Xaliea with a good silence, keeping Axios in an awkward position. Tremors are making it come up big. One more hit, he will die as well to Xaliea, who gets a double.
Run away, Xalia's coming.
He got him again! Blind shot in the dark finds the kill.
Trixtank is there, still stunned, but it doesn't matter. Funballer finds the last hit, and then he finds a beautiful stun on Variety as well. He can't even get Lawbringer off.
First pick this time around, Paradigm. So, just flat out, big picture, something was wrong. How do you fix it if you're wearing black and yellow?
I would ban out the tier specifically. Athena being banned, this is the first ban that they did the last game, and then it was the nausea to take that away from Twig. Clearly comfortable was Twig on the Hunbats, so that's not going to be a second ban. I don't expect Paradigm to go with the nausea ban. Again, I would like to see them either early pick tier or to ban it away.
Right. I do want to see tier gone. Naja's gone as well, and I'll tell you why I still like this. Hungry for More, up until this point, was largely a one-trick pony. The only way they found wins, as you said, 3 wins coming into the series, now finally finding a 4th. The only way that Hungry for More was able to really find a win was off of the combination Naja into usually a Vulcan ultimate, but that was the direction. This was the first time that we saw an alternative strategy from Hunger for More, a composition based heavily on displacement, pushing the enemy into a bad spot, and smoking them because of it. The Hunbats is coming out of Paradigm, and I like this move. The 2 bans that Paradigm have are to prevent the first strategy that is tried and true for Hunger for More. The Hunbats taken here by Paradigm. Now you're approaching the second strategy that HFM have debuted, and that displacement idea.
That's a good point that you mentioned, that the Naja pairs up with the Vulcan. And on top of that, PrettyPriMe, also known for his Scylla play specifically.
Yep.
Off of that, Hungry for More, going to take the Guan Yu and the Apollo. Ataraxia playing a very comfortable Apollo last game. Going to play it again, why not? Guan Yu this time for Hungry for More. We'll see if that's going to be solo or support.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned that Trixtank is one of the more aggressive supports, and that he's always leaned on those warrior supports. Well, Frezzy historically has always been more of the Guardian guy, but he plays those Ares, those Ymirs. You look for that aggression, and Guan Yu is one of those warriors that is in your aggressive support arsenal. So still a lot of ambiguity on the side of HFM. Paradigm, on the other hand, they clean things up. Hunbats and Chronos, and Ho Yi will likely be in the hands of Funball.
Funballer, known to play very aggressively at times, and what other god to play aggressively than Ho Yi at this situation? Chronos on Lawbster, definitely not a god that he's unfamiliar with. That's going to be played very aggressively as long as QvoFred can set him up with some early slows. Fenrir being locked in for Twiggy.
Hungry for More. So here, we're seeing an interesting strategy where, as I said, we've sort of identified the 2 approaches that Hungry for More take. And I think with the Fenrir pick, they're tilting their hand in the direction of looking for the 1-2 combo out of the jungle. I've got him. Do something to him with Big Burst.
Exactly, and that can also set up more mage plays whenever you stun somebody with the Unchained, whenever you grab somebody. Interestingly enough, we do see a shock ban.
I don't think Chalk made the impact last game, and of course, one game, I am the first one to mention outliers. Just because you had a bad game doesn't mean that's a bad pick. We've seen Xaliea, I mean, more often than not, that was the outlier, not the successful strategy. So Hunger for More doesn't want to deal with that. The Bacchus ban from Paradigm, you were mentioning. Zindern was the Bacchus player, but Frezzy also has a Bacchus. So Paradigm, thinking that Hungry for More is going to put that Guan Yu in the solo lane.
So the thing is, Hungry for More have a few channeling abilities on the Guan Yu, Talu Assault, the Fenrir Brutalize, so maybe that shock ban was to prevent the channeling abilities from being stopped, as we do have Sobek being locked in, so that can also be a flex pick for solos. Guan Yu and Sobek can intertwine between the 2 roles.
That's very true. You know, the Guardian meta, if you will, has sort of gone out of the window, but Sobek is still always generally a decent pick.
Yeah, and we do have Cabrakan for Paradigm.
Love it. And this is Paradigm, again, Hunger for More didn't actually ban this character out, and playing what they're good at. Paradigm is going to look for the composition of trapping and isolating these individuals. Cabrakan combined with Ho Yi creates a devastating, guaranteed situation. And then, of course, you've got the big old circle combos, Odin on top of hi-rez.
Exactly. And now Hungry for More neglects the fact that they have the Odin cage, neglects the fact that they have the Cabrakan walls as well. They pick Zeus into it. It's a very strange thing. They have Guan that can't get out. They have Apollo and Zeus. In fact, Sobek as well. They have 4 gods that can't get out of this.
It's going to be explosive. Paradigm's looking to trap people, and Hunger for More looking to turn that around. Basically, what the Zeus pick is here, it's very dangerous, but they're looking for the Rorschach. They're looking for the situation where, all right, you've locked me in. I'm not locked in here. You're locked in with me. Hunger for More versus Paradigm. Can number 8 topple number 2? Let's take a look. Looking for first blood is Hungry for More, and it's enough to take out Carino. PrettyPriMe with the 1-2 punch.
No, he's
He'll
dead.
Teleport.
He's 100% dead. Unless he can, like, one-shot Shaggy.
Fantastic play by Variety, forcing the issue. Every time we get to see that Variety play, I just love it because it looks just, oh, he outquanged him, but he weaves in between the basics, and that's the Variety we've been able to see this season. He's going to go head-to-head against Xaliea on the Cabrakan, so QvoFred will play the Monkey in the Jungle, which is probably a little bit more obvious, so to speak. Trixtank on the Odin, though. We mentioned that Trix likes to be aggressive and likes to play this warrior support. Outside of Pain, it's very rare to see Odin here. What can we expect out of this guy in the support role?
He's going to try to clear the wave really early in laning phase. Once you hit level 2, the Bird Bomb combination. In fact, he has the Bluestone Pendant to be able to clear the wave a little bit earlier, neglecting the farm that you would get out of Watcher's Gift. He wants to be able to clear the wave, rotate for more farm, push the wave consistently, and maybe steal the boards around the 2-minute mark.
And just in general, looking for that hyper-aggression, the blink level 1, just going for it. Bluestone and Boots just going for it. And look at the damage that this team is able to do to the mid, just to these camps for the buffs. Very quick clear, and this should allow Paradigm to reach the lane relatively quicker than their opposition HFM.
And now Paradigm doing the same start in the solo lane side of things, doing the mid Harpies into blue. They do have Xaliea with Purple Pot as well, going for Creeping Curse. He's going to look for an early level 2, maybe level 3 kill onto Variety, and they did walk over a ward earlier on, so Variety should have spotted that and responded.
MANALIKE takes excuse me, magic on my mind. MANALIKE takes a little bit of poke coming out from the Bird Bomb from Trixtank. And that's going to be something that Hunger for More has to watch out for, as well as understand that Funball has complete understanding of the geometry in this lane.
And look at that already. Variety around 30% health, forced to pop both of his potions. Now, Xaliea doesn't have many potions with this build. He even has a mana pot instead of going for the multi-potion. Normally, when you're playing this aggressive, you want to have both potions. Looking for the kill already. Gonna force out a dash. Really good recognition from Variety that Xaliea would play this aggressive, leveling his dash to level 2 instead of the heal.
Yeah, that's rare, right? That you're usually looking for the Tallow Assault and the heal, and that's Variety just completely understanding not just the matchup in the character, but the matchup in the player, expecting that aggression.
Exactly. We do have aggression coming out of Hunger for More, looking to invade the backside mid-Harpies.
Not going to happen, though. Zeus will throw out the shield just for some safety, trying to get what he can, but it won't happen.
In the duel lane, Odin jumping in, taking a little bit of poke in return, able to clear out the wave with this Bluestone Pendant Odin support really well, and yet again the ricochet bouncing off the wall, poking out Ataraxia. He has no more health potions with this throwing dagger build.
And that's the same spot that Funball found that, and you know, I want to stress that. Go home. Play Hou-Yi in your games. You can find the bounces on the left side wall, good for you. Trying to find that bounce on the curved wall of the buff camp, that just shows you just how many hours Funball has sunk into this character.
Yeah, we do have a wave being shared from QvoFred. It's going to hurt Xaliea a little bit because now Variety is going to hit level 5 first.
Looking at Variety there, just the confidence in this player. I mean, he just stood there, knew exactly that Batz was coming. He doesn't have a ward, just understood the map pressure and how this is going to go, and he just stood there out of combat animation looking at the monkey like, what are you trying to do here, because you're not going to kill me.
Yeah, when you see that jungler coming around the corner, you respect him, but you don't give him too much respect. Now, QvoFred doing a good job taking the boar away from Hunger for More and the back Harpies. As a result, there's nothing really that CaptainTwig has left to do at this stage of the game. They are level 5 before Qvo, so that's a little bit of an advantage that they can maybe exploit.
Qvo's going to go ahead and clear out this buff camp, or what used to be a buff camp. The old pig going to help out his solo lane over there.
So CaptainTwig sees nobody's in the mid lane, has to hold the wave for the Zeus that's returning to base. Does pick up boots too.
That'll help him rotate a little bit faster. And CaptainTwig staying local because of those mid camps, they're starting to come up very soon. QvoFred paying so much attention to variety. Paradigm realized how much of an impact Variety's tier was able to make last game, and this is one of the larger adjustments we're seeing from game 1 to game 2.
And the difference between Guan Yu from game 1 to game 2 is now it's in the solo lane instead of support role. So now you're going to be coming online a little bit faster. You're going to have your heal maxed out. You're going to have more defensive items earlier on in the mid laning, or the mid team fights rather, as we do have both teams electing to do the red buff. We do have a blue buff invade, however, from Qvo.
Yeah, QvoFred understands the communication has been given that that Hungry for More is headed to the left side of the map to look towards the red buff. So QvoFred heads to the right side of the map and looks towards the enemy blue buff. Very good attention to detail coming out from the Paradigm jungler.
And Hungry for More not capitalizing on the fact that the pressure was on the solo side. Normally you would want to put pressure on the duo side whenever your blue buff's getting invaded. They have no vision around the Fire Giant. They had no idea. Instead, they got the left side mid Harpies. So trading blue buff for left side mid Harpies not really worth.
In whose direction? I mean, Variety's going to suffer without having that blue buff.
Exactly. It's not worth for Hungry for More to give a blue buff just for left side mid Harpies. In fact, they even three-way split those left side mid Harpies.
And now Variety, as we said, he's going to suffer a little bit without having just the luxury of being able to spam the abilities, which that's exactly what Guan Yu wants to do. He wants to spam those abilities and get himself going right away.
So Cabrakan is up about 100 gold, but the fact that he picked up the purple bot, he's actually at a deficit of about 300 to 350 right now. Guan Yu gonna see the Hunbats around the corner, or does he
doesn't.
not?
Variety does not see the Hunbats around the corner. Variety was waiting. There's the ultimate out of Xaliea. Variety now in some trouble. Hungry for more. There's the rotation out of CaptainTwig. Variety gonna fall to QvoFred. Well played by the solo jungle combination. 5 full minutes of QvoFred hanging out on the right side of the map finally pays off.
This is clearly the strategy from Paradigm. They want to shut down Variety. He made a huge impact with the tier like you mentioned earlier on in game number 1. They don't want this Guan Yu to come online, especially when you're playing Cabrakan in the solo lane. You want to come online before the Guan Yu, and you want to make those rotations before them.
That's the key point for me here, is that it's sort of like 2-for-1 combination for Paradigm. Yes, they want to shut down Variety, but they also want this Cabrakan to make an impact sooner rather than later. QvoFred catching CaptainTwig out a little bit, giving him some damage, but without the ultimate no-kill potential.
Not finding the monkey bounce. That might have been a kill had he connected, if he got a lucky crit off after the return. Sobek in the mid lane.
Knock up and pluck onto Lawbster's purification. A little bit too late, but Lawbster won't be punished for it necessarily this time. With 150 seconds left in that purification, expect Lawbster to be punished next time.
Exactly. And now Hungry for More has that timer into their head. They're saying to themselves, all right, purification was down at the 6-minute mark. Now it's going to be up around the 8:30 to 8:40 mark. That's our window and our time to take advantage of it.
And now you can see that's exactly what the squad is doing. Hungry for More now. They want to be aggressive into these mid-Harpies, and Trixtank is well aware, going to isolate players, drop the cage, and Zeus, nowhere for him to go. Xaliea cracks down the shields and takes out PrettyPriMe, but the turnaround, Xaliea by himself, burst from Sobek, distributed damage from Guan Yu, but here comes Ataraxia as QvoFred tries to turn it. Ataraxia says no.
The Hunbats actually jumps into the cavalry charge as they land. Sobek finding the pluck, however.
Long range from downtown. Sobek able to just find that maximum distance pluck to ensure the kill onto QvoFred. Needed to make that turnaround kill. What looked like a great situation for Paradigm turns into a 2-for-1.
Exactly. We saw the Zeus getting picked off into the Odin cage earlier on. Like we mentioned before the game started, that the Zeus would be in trouble if he ever gets caught, and that's exactly what happened. However, Hungry for More, finding more return kills onto Xaliea that was a little bit out of position. He wanted to rotate and make the play. Unfortunately, the teamfight already disapparated, but he was just left alone from there.
Yeah, Xaliea, I like the rotation. I even like the pathing that Xaliea took. It was just the fact that Paradigm sort of left him hanging. Xaliea got the kill onto Xaliea finished the deal onto PrettyPriMe, and then was just surrounded by 3 players, and especially with the rotation out of Ataraxia that Funball can't follow to no fault of his own. He literally is flying through the air on a chariot. I mean, that's a situation that Hunger for More sort of entails.
Exactly. And in the solo lane right now, Variety's still at a little bit of a deficit experience-wise, which will stabilize a little bit later on. QvoFred still looking to play aggressive. Blue buff is down. It has gone to Variety. CaptainTwig with blue buff as well. That means they still Paradigms blue buff.
Yes, and there's the ultimate, dealing with Variety and a lot of damage. No beads. Ultimate not even needed. QvoFred and Xaliea combined for the kill on Variety for the second time this contest.
Still being able to shut down Variety is the key strategy for Paradigm. They don't want the sustain from Guan to make a factor around the level 12 to 15 team fights when Gold Fury becomes a huge objective for both of them.
Keeping that teleport on their minds as well, and a big part of why Paradigm is paying a lot of attention to the solo lane as well is the fact that Xaliea did not pick up the teleport. That's so, I mean, customary is probably putting it lightly. It's almost required. If you fall behind, if you get poked out in lane, you're just going to wind up losing the lane, maybe even your tower. So by going the curse, looking for the early kill or otherwise, Xaliea puts himself at a disadvantage, ensuring that the jungler has to come and babysit.
Exactly. QvoFred basically babying Xaliea to the point where Variety is getting shut down so hard, having to teleport back to the wave just so he doesn't lose the experience and gold under his own tower. Now he can't make the necessary rotations if Paradigm were to start Gold Fury ever. And we saw earlier on in the dual lane just how well Funballer is able to execute the Hu-Yi aggression onto Ataraxia's Apollo.
And that's, so the idea of not going teleport, I'll hold that thought. We see a monkey getting in some trouble. But QvoFred's going to walk away. So the idea of not going teleport, you highlighted one of the points about not being able to make the rotation over to the Gold Fury. The selection of Trixtank and Funball on the Odin and the Ho-Yi. There's the big Woof Woof bringing the character to the tower. Not going to find much just yet, but Xaliea, there's a whole lot of damage and a big old rotation, but the follow-up from QvoFred ringed in, and Fear No Evil combined on top of Variety. No healing inside of that, but not enough damage from Paradigm to make any of it count.
That was really close. We have Lawbster forced out the purification by MANALIKE. So that was really unfortunate to begin with because the Fenrir took away the Xaliea from the Zeus ultimate to begin with. That could have been an easier kill if PrettyPrime's ultimate was right on top during the Ragnaros.
Just a miscommunication there. On the other hand, Hunger for More, everyone on the same page, understanding that they want to get aggressive here in the solo lane. But again, unable to find a kill. Look at the change that Ataraxia has made, though. He's now made the rotation into the middle lane, ready to ult up if that was an all-in situation.
We do have a lot of pressure in the solo lane. They're recognizing they have that little bit of a power play, and without Xaliea having the teleport, he can't defend this lane. CaptainTwig not gonna get overhand smash. Good disruption by MANALIKE.
Yeah, understanding that he can interrupt that ability, force QvoFred to do it a second time, and the damage doesn't find on the original target. It's all directed towards the Sobek.
And because MANALIKE has no mana, he has to disengage. QvoFred recognizes this, wants to poke him out, forcing the Sobek out of here because the blue buff is available to be contested. Paradigm, if they want to keep shutting down Hungry for More's Variety, they're going to look to potentially steal this. Variety does recognize this, however.
Yeah, there's a ward right there, so Variety understands the situation. Paradigm, I liked their early aggression, but they understand that PrettyPrime is here in the solo lane as well, able to make that rotation. And, you know, everything looks hunky-dory until it starts raining and there's a giant Zeus ult on you.
And because the Zeus rotated to the solo lane, the Hunter, Ataraxia, rotates over to the mid lane, gets the wave. Now he's going to rotate back to make sure he doesn't lose the wave under his duo tower. But first it looks like he's going to tag the red buff along the way, maximizing his farm.
So the picks for Paradigm, without the teleport there, the Trixtank and the Funball combination of Odin and Ho-Yi, these characters are very it's hard to contest the Gold Fury, take a Gold Fury with them there. So without having the rotation from Xaliea at a moment's notice, was that a conscious part of Paradigm's draft?
It was a conscious part of Paradigm's draft in order to be able to lock down all these non-jump gods. They only had the Fenrir at the moment. They had the Apollo, the Guan Yu, and the Sobek when they picked the Odin.
Yes.
And then the Zeus was picked into the Odin, which leads me to believe that Hungry for More doesn't even care about this, as they do start the Gold Fury.
It's already about halfway down. There's the Zeus ultimate. Zeus ultimate, and it's leashed. That's not a good look for Hunger for More.
No, they saw the Odin around the corner. They saw that Hu-Yi was there as well. That Odin bird bomb does have a lot of secure damage.
Yes.
the Zeus Detonate does a lot, but so does the Odin Bird Bomb. They respected it, and they disengaged. It was a good call to start the Gold Fury. Even better one, not to allow the Odin to steal it. Because you did all this work to get it low, and now just for it to be taken away from you is very discouraging.
Even still, that Zeus ultimate down, Paradigm should look to capitalize off that in the mid lane. A lot of what makes Zeus dangerous, since he's so vulnerable, is the turnaround potential. And with the ultimate down, that turnaround potential does take a little bit of a nosedive. So Paradigm should divert some of their resources into looking for this mid laner.
Exactly. With that ultimate down, Paradigm needs to recognize that opportunity. They called the timer yet again with this 60-second cooldown. Right now, remaining on the Zeus ultimate, they have that little bit of a window to take advantage.
CaptainTwig just hanging out in the right side jungle. Nothing really to get in the solo lane, so to speak. Everybody for Paradigm kind of in the mid lane. And Xaliea will take the long walk back to the lane.
Hungry for more. They stole the blue buff before. They have the timer of this blue buff. They see QvoFred around the corner, trading a little bit of poke. Going to actually avoid the overhand smash. Good job by Twiggy.
Just finding a way out. 13, just shy of 14 minutes on the clock. Paradigm lead by way of kills and barely gold. 4-3 with the kills, but we've got a tie game here, folks. Hungry for more. If you missed game one, you're going to find the VOD. 20,000 gold in the lead before they were able to topple Paradigm. We're seeing a much different team this time around from the guys on the left side.
Exactly. They have a lot of space control with the Odin, with the Cabrakan, and Hungry for More needs to respect that. They're not in a position where they're super far ahead like they were the first game, so they can't make these aggressive rotations in place. They could try to sneak a Gold Fury, but that's about it for now.
I love the stun coming out from Xaliea, just shutting down the channeled abilities from Variety. Making sure just to mitigate almost everything that he can.
And this is what you have to do in the solo lane. You have to try to look for a little bit of poke and then get an advantage. Look for farm elsewhere. Look for an advantage to rotate.
So this Odin is largely an early game character, and then later on he'll just turn into an ult bot, right?
Basically, with the Hui on top, he basically complements each other. You have one circle, you just add another one on top.
So are you really concerned about either of these teams heading into the late game? I know in game number one with the Chalk and everybody, it was sort of cautious. You want to end this game earlier than not. But in this game, the teams seem a little bit more well-balanced.
You could say that it's a little bit more well-balanced because of the walls provided from Paradigm. So there's their specific strategy. On top of that, their strategy was to deny Variety. So now, clearly, the tables have turned where Hungry for More had the displacement strategy, and now Paradigm has the wall strategy, and on top of that, shutting down Variety.
Yeah, it's actually kind of the opposite. Hungry for More wanted to push the opponent into a bad spot. Paradigm are just going to lock the opponent into whatever spot they originally planned on. So you've got two opposite ends of the spectrum, but either way, the end result is the same. The idea is to isolate individuals, shut them down by just a sheer numbers advantage. If you lock one or two people in a ring or in a Cabrakan wall, and you've got 5, there's just... the math is simple.
You have to be careful, however, because as long as Zeus is still there, if you're not the one locking in Zeus and you don't pick him off, then you're going to get punished for over-committing to setting up those walls specifically. Xaliea might be in trouble, Trix might be in trouble if they ever get Chain Lightning bounced.
Again, huge amounts of vision coming out from Hunger for More, just not a lot coming out from Paradigm. You see a couple of wards placed on the left side from Blue, but just look at the look at those numbers. You've got just the majority. All right, they just bought and placed some wards, but the majority of players right before we started talking about it, it was all red at the top. Hunger for More really investing in the vision.
Yeah, CaptainTwig and MANALIKE both at 6 wards, and as I mentioned, that CaptainTwig pushing up to 7. They really want to make aggressive plays. Twig was playing really aggressive with the Batz, and now aggressive again on the Fenrir.
Yeah, stuck in 2 of Zeus's circles. Look at that, one big and one small. Never talk to me or my son ever again. Hunger for More, even it up 4-4.
And with that kill, let's see what Hungry for More elect to do. They did use the Fenrir ulti and the Zeus ultimate, so it's going to be difficult to secure the gold here. However, they don't have to worry about the Odin Bird Bomb to steal this. All they have to worry about is the Batz and the Hui. They're even looking for a fight.
And the Batz and Hui are a lot to worry about, and that's why I'm not surprised to see the fight. Here comes the aggression. Both ultimates from both supports. There's MANALIKE taking out QvoFred. Funball getting chased, getting dove. Can't find the turnaround on Variety, and Variety has just created the space. The rest of HFM will look towards the objective now.
And even though they took all this damage, it doesn't matter because they have the Guan coming out of the solo lane at level 15. His heal is maxed out. The cooldowns are going to go down for him. His cavalry charge is going to come back up very soon off of this. Hungry for more, getting the gold here at the 17-minute mark, pushing their lead to about 2,000 gold.
You know, it's just so interesting how that one worked out, because if you're Paradigm, you're stuck in an impossible situation. You absolutely have to contest that Gold Fury because you have all the relevant tools. You've got a Fear No Evil and a Ho Yield. If you don't use them, why do you even have them in the first place? But the second you even show your face, it's a 5-on-2. Both of the players get smoked out. Both of the players just go from 100 to 0. And Funball, he doesn't die, but the result is the same. Gold Fury goes the opposite way, and Hunger for More winds up with a small lead of about 2,500 gold.
It's really unfortunate when you don't have the vision control around Gold Fury to know exactly when that Gold Fury is executable to any of your abilities. So then you kind of have to poke your head around the corner, and if you poke your head too early, you're going to get instantly eternal like Hungry for More exactly did in that scenario.
Here's something that I like about Batz here. You see the Overhand Smash and the Sacred Monkey are maxed out before investment into the ultimate. When you level up your ultimate, you're actually extending the time frame that people are CC'd. Hungry for More are confident enough in their, whether it's their burst ability or just their ability as a team to come together and choose the correct target, that it doesn't matter that Fear No Evil is at the bottom level. And you see this all the time at the at SPL level Smite. In your solo queues, you might want to invest into that because it takes more teamwork to really kill the person in a shorter amount of time. But when you're at this level of play, all you need is just a little bit of crowd control and you're able to kill them.
Exactly. The Batz, as you level the ultimate, each individual rank increases it by 1/4 of a second, and that 1/4 of a second can set up more follow-up damage. That can give Lawbster enough time to throw a time rift, throw a time stop as well, and just more damage on top, especially when you have an Odin cage and a Batz ulti in the same circle. They're consistently running into a wall. Normally, even if you have a long cooldown, a long duration of the Batz ultimate, sometimes you walk out of it, but if you're in an Odin cage, you're constantly walking into the wall, so that 1.5 second Batz ultimate at rank 3 seems like an eternity.
It really does, and it honestly seems like an eternity that these teams have been just sort of rotating and walking around this right side of the map. Hungry for More want to get aggressive, but they're smart. They're not willing to just get aggressive at any situation. They want to find the right spot.
And in the solo lane, good job by MANALIKE, basically zoning out. They recognized there was only 2 members from Paradigm able to defend this, but now Variety, no, they're not going to look to play aggressive. They're content with taking that tier 1 tower.
Exactly. I love the discipline coming out from Hunger for More. We could have seen a fight after that tower went down. We could have seen a fight before that when Hunger for More was in the enemy jungle. We could see a fight here, but Hunger for More instead just looking at the objectives.
And I like what Guan Yu did there.
There's the pick. Ultimate coming out of the big woof woof. Toss into the circle of Zeus, and MANALIKE able to follow up and find the kill. Trixtank giving chase. Variety underneath the tower, and CaptainTwig puts the coffin on top of Trix. Damage coming out now the other direction. Ataraxia able to take out QvoFred, but CaptainTwig very low. Love the change to Ataraxia tanking the tower now, staying on the back line, focusing on the objective, makes all the damage go to him while everybody else is fighting. 4 dead on the side of Paradigm. Hungry for More take their cautious play. All of a sudden it explodes into a powder keg of damage, and Hungry for More able to take out not just 1, but 2 towers. 6,700. This was a close game just a minute ago. But between the 3 towers taken and the 4 players smoked out, Hungry for More wind up on top of Paradigm, and they're looking for the fire.
Exactly. 21-minute mark fire giant. This game was very even up until about 1 minute ago. It just blown up wide open. If we looked at the player healing, I'm sure Guan Yu has an enormous amount of healing.
Yeah, look at that. You can see 10,000 healing on Guan Yu. Average health pool is what? You say 2K?
For squishies, about 1,800 to 1,500 at this level.
So that 10,000, I mean, that's an entire team's worth of HP bars. All 4 players that died, you know, I mean, that's over the course of the game. He saved so many lives just by healing and healing and healing. And that, man, that's what I consider Guan Yu. One of the, just, his impact in the team fight is so high. He's able to turn engagements almost completely on their heads.
And the way he initiated that in the mid lane, he came from behind, recognizing that the tower would be on him. He was comfortable the fact that he would be able to sustain through it, poke out Lawbster to open up the team fight. The Odin came in with the cage. There wasn't enough follow-up because of the pressure that the Guan Yu provided, and Hungry for More just capitalized it because the longer the team fight, the more the Guan Yu can sustain.
And again, you know, I harped on the fact that Ataraxia was tanking it because that was an intentional trade. The tower will target whoever is closest to it. So Ataraxia had to walk forward to ensure that he was going to take the tower. And since, as we said last game, going the same build, no lifesteal, he's ensured that he's not going to be in the team fight, takes the tower, so everybody else on his team is taking damage from opponents. He's the only one taking damage from tower, and everything is balanced correctly, and Hungry for More winds up on the top of that fight.
And you're the Apollo that has audacity. You want to be able to build the passive to be able to shred the tower even faster. You have the Titan's Bane as well for the penetration. We do have Hungry for More starting up Gold Fury with variety, zoning a little bit. Looks like they want to play very aggressive. They want to take advantage of this Fire Giant. 23-minute mark. They have the tier 2 tower down in the mid lane, looking to set their sights onto the dual lane.
A little bit of bravado coming out from the debuting support player. Game 1, he's really rocking it and just feels very confident in his abilities.
He even dropped a ward inside the tier 2 tower just to kind of taunt them a little bit further. We do have Odin jumping on in.
And there's the flip from MANALIKE into the thunderstorm. PrettyPriMe starts it happening. Double digits for Hungry for More. Very deep is CaptainTwig trying to find someone. Variety will take the tower while Ataraxia just focuses on it. Bang, bang, bang. Down goes the tier 2. 1,500 more gold. Again, Hungry for More find themselves 5 digits above Paradigm.
I mean, we do have in the backline, the Hunbatz is able to find PrettyPriMe. Cabrakan ultimate was used as well. Xaliea is going to fall. Ataraxia doing a lot of damage after the pluck from Sobek onto Funballer and still staying onto the Phoenix while the rest of the team fight is beyond it. Thinking objectively is so important as a hunter. You see the team fight from the backhand side and you're able to basically say, okay, is it better for me to get this Phoenix or continue in the team fight?
And that's what I love about Ataraxia, and that's always been his calling card. He understands exactly his role as a hunter. As you get more powerful and more powerful, you do transition into that player killer, but when the fight is on the tower, you're the one. Sobek's not taking down a Phoenix anytime soon. You're not going to depend on variety to basic attack a Phoenix out of me. We were talking about that yesterday with the Kumbakarna. It just takes so long. Now CaptainTwig can make sort of an argument, but still, you're the hunter. That's your job. And if Sobek throws something in your face, you'll crit him for 1,000 real quick, and then you go right back to the tower. Always objective-minded is Nate. I love the play.
Yeah, Fire Giant respawning in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. So Hungry for More, content with spending their gold that they got off of the tower, the Gold Fury, and the 2 Phoenixes, getting some buffs onto them, taking the blue buff earlier. Not electing to finish that blue buff. Looks like the Guan Yu is sitting at 2,500 gold in hand.
And with that, he's going to go ahead and finish some items. So the Genji's garb, you know, we discussed it off camera, and we actually brought it up, but didn't actually get to dive into this. So this item is one of my favorite items. Basically what it does is when you take magical abilities, when you take damage from magical abilities, you're going to lower your cooldowns by 2 seconds. Guan Yu's doing that anyway. So you're lowering it with your heals, you're lowering it with your dash, you're lowering it by tanking whatever the opponent's throwing at you. Your heal is going to come up so often, you really embody this Uzi of healing that I was talking about. Just heal, 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 heal.
Not only is he getting that passive cooldown, he gets a 10% cooldown reduction on this item, and he gets the 20 MP5, which is really important for Guan Yu to be consistently able to throw out the dashes for cooldown reduction, throw out the heals for cooldown reduction as well, and basically be a heal bot with a meditation to boot.
And don't forget, it's a huge amount of magical protections as well. On top of all the well and good stuff, it also is just a super tanky item. So I like this. I like this application on Guan Yu specifically, and it's been working wonders. 2, 2, and 10 for variety. He's been a part of 12 of 13 kills in total for Hungry for More. With the pressure that HFM have put onto Paradigm, they're able to pick up the Fire Giant no problem, because Paradigm is too busy cleaning out fire minions.
And now Hungry for More has their sights at the end of the prize is the Titan. They're up 1 game in this set. Can they close this game for 2? They're down 3-9 before the set started. If they win this, they'll be at 5-9, and then they face Dignitas immediately after. Imagine they go from 3-9 to 7-9. That is a great way to start off the second half of the season.
Exactly. And like I said, this is what I'm looking for out of teams. I want to see the adjustments coming out of the bye week. This is exactly what's going to happen, and Hunger for More being very aggressive on the last Phoenix available. Right side, we hear Variety go up on the horse, lands down, finds a stun on a Lawbster. Does he get the kill? No, but Chronos is not in the fight, and that's what he's looking for. There's the big woof woof, thrown into the burst. Variety picks up 1, MANALIKE picks up 2. There's only 3 members, make that 2 members alive for Paradigm, as Raxia deals out the crits on top of the jungler. Lawbster and Funball can't be found, but Lawbster can. There's the rewind, it's gonna put him in a bad spot.
With that, the third Phoenix does go down. Titan is taking a lot of damage, but Hungry for More, they are hungry for more because they are looking for kills into the fountain. Ataraxia forces the Sanctuary out of the Funball. He doesn't care about the Titan. He wants to kill. He wants to make a statement.
And that right there, that is so exciting to see. That is not Ataraxia's normal brand.
No.
Ataraxia is very polite, very political, objective-minded, always looking for it. To see Ataraxia going for the kills in the fountain, that tells me that this team is feeling completely energized, completely catalyzed, and they're ready to take this next half a season. This team's looking, they're not after the truck. They're looking for DreamHack.
Exactly.
This is fun.
DreamHack is right around the corner, and these teams are very serious. Making the roster swap apparently seems to have worked.
I mean, the roster swap, as I said, coming into the bye week, the team was looking a little bit better. A lot of the struggles that the team had, one by one, we saw everything fall into place. CaptainTwig picked things up first, and then CaptainTwig combined with PrettyPriMe, and they came out together. And then Variety stepped it up in one game, and Ataraxia's just always been killing it on Apollo. You make the support switch, and all of a sudden, the aggression's paying off. Hungry for more. They're able to take 2 above Paradigm, and in devastating fashion.
Yeah, this is not something that we've seen out of Hungry for More this season. They started off the second half of the season 3-9, and now sitting at 5-9. This is a great statement. Ataraxia was really feeling himself, like you mentioned. He was like taking his sip cup of tea, and then he's like poured it for his homies at the end.
It's so exciting to see everything finally come together. And for me, one of the more exciting points is CaptainTwig. He struggled a lot coming from the mid lane into the jungle last season on Fnatic. So he's been playing Smite pretty much forever. He's known as a 1v1 player in Duel, one of the best duelers in the world. That translates to mid, and not so much into the jungle. So he struggled a lot on Fnatic, found a home on Hunger for More. He struggled at the beginning of the season as well. But what we have here is we found the identity. CaptainTwig is all about the setup. He's a player that is going to go ahead and make things happen by way of this type of situation. He's either going to isolate you and create a situation where you can't go for it, or he's going to set you up with the ultimate and make you just not be able to interact.
And he's not afraid to play aggressive no matter what god he's playing. This is where he sets up an early kill and then getting another kill into the backline. Not afraid to teleport to his monkey bounces. Just one after another. He knocks them out one by one by one.
CaptainTwig still going aggressive in there. Ataraxia cleans up that one. But because of that initial kill, CaptainTwig's able to take that, and then later on we see the transition into the Gold Fury. That fight in the mid lane all happened off of the pick, etc. Now here's the team fight one more time. CaptainTwig playing Disruption, but he's playing Disruption. It's more important where he's playing Disruption. Ataraxia is focusing on the tower, so we'll take the team fight 10 feet forward where nobody can touch my Hunter.
Yeah, he forces out a lot of purifications whenever he plays aggressively between Tier 1 and Tier 2, allowing his Hunter to focus on the towers, focus on whoever's in front of him, is what you need to do as a jungler. Allow the rest of your team to do their job as long as you're doing your job.
And that's why we saw so many of these engagements coming out from Hungry for More didn't wind up just going, okay, we'll win a team fight and then we'll take a tower. What really happened here was we'll take the team fight in between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 so that the Tier 1 will go down while we're fighting, and then that will snowball quite literally into the Tier 2 tower. So you're never guaranteed, this team was almost always guaranteed the 2K from 1 and 2.
Whenever you can multitask like that, that's how you know your team has been making the right necessary moves in the beginning and the middle of the game, and then now you're in a stage where you're closing it out, making these fancy maneuvers.
And just the understanding. Nobody in this team is the superstar. Nobody in this team is really looking for the limelight or the spotlight. If it comes by way of, like we saw Variety a couple of weeks ago, or CaptainTwig in this week, I mean, this is really what this team is about. CaptainTwig in game number 2 also turned up, trading in the Batz for a Fenrir here, and again, that might have been the misplay, bringing Xaliea the opposite direction. So the communication, the team certainly has some building to go, but CaptainTwig here understands that, all right, I'm on the Fenrir. I can bring a little bit more damage than I did last time. So here, still doing the setup, but also just being aggressive.
Yeah, and that earlier Odin kill allowed them to get that gold here because they had no potential to steal it. Just constantly playing aggressive, grabbing whoever he can, forcing objectives afterwards. On top of Twig was Variety always into the back line.
Again, one more time, notice where Twiggy is fighting there, in between the tier 1 and the tier 2. If that fight goes on the tier 1, well then maybe there's a response. It happens in between, so you see 2 towers instead of 1. And then this final one here, this is CaptainTwig just saying, it's late game. I'm 18, I'm the big woof, I'm just gonna smoke you out. 2 kills for the jungler, and CaptainTwig really setting a statement here.
Yeah, and if we look at the standings, we do have now Hungry for More at 5 and 9.
Look at that, leapfrogging over Torpedo and Fnatic, finding themselves out of the bottom. And you know, I was excited coming into the bye week. I said, clearly, something is different. Everything's working. Maybe not on all cylinders, but at least most of them are running. And I mean, Hunger for More, making one more adjustment. Never content, never complacent. They're at 6th right now. I'm not saying they're going to be number 1 anytime soon, but this squad has definitely made an impact. They've got 2 more today. Dignitas, as you said, it's possible that if they wind up with 2 more, just a catapult up front. Now, going into Dignitas, this team is a little bit different. Does Hunger for More have to do anything different to win against Dig versus Paradigm?
Dignitas has a little bit of a different style than Paradigm, but as long as they play the game that they did this set, I can expect another 2-0.
You heard it here. Will it be 4 wins for the formerly 8th place Hungry for More? They look completely different, and I'm excited. Stay tuned for the other half of the doubleheader.